everyone, and welcome to another episode of the PG Podcast. Today's episode is going to be fantastic. It's a reminder that if something is from God, if the instructions you have, if the thing that you want to do, if the vision that you're thinking about, if the ministry that you're contemplating, if that is from God, it's probably gonna scare you to death. This podcast is all about how to do the scary things. So if you're interested in making sure that whatever God put in your heart becomes everything He has in mind, then you want to keep listening. This is the PG Podcast, where we remind you that if God calls you, no one can uncall you, and you don't need a pulpit to preach. You just need a message. Funny story. It might be funny. It's funny to me. It might not be funny to you, but when I graduated from high school, or maybe about a year before graduation, admittedly, I was a little bit less worldly smart than most people. I might have been very, studious, and I knew my stuff academically, and the Bible, I knew it. I still do. I loved it, so I ate the Bible up. But when it comes to things of the world, and when it comes to how people live life, I was pretty much ignorant. My parents were very, very protective, so I didn't get to go to a lot of places or hang out outside of church circles. So honestly, I wanted to go to university, but I had no idea what that really meant. In Trinidad and Tobago, at that time there was one university called the University of the West Indies, and it's UE for short. And I remember as a child just going to the zoo or going to the airport and passing these buildings, amazing big buildings. And people would say, "Look, UE," right? In Trinidad, "Look, UE" means look, there's the University of the West Indies. Look, UE. So people would always say, "Look, UE." And so I thought for some reason they were saying, "Look, QE." And I thought that the university's name was QE. So I was already a teenager, and I wanted to ask my parents if I could go to college, to university. And I said to my dad one evening, I say, "Dad, I want to go to QE." And he's like, "To what?" I said, "I want to go to QE." And then I'm thinking to myself, am I saying this wrong? Because I never realized that UWI was, University of the West Indies. And he laughed so hard. I didn't think he wanted to laugh at me, but he was laughing because I wanted to go to a place that I didn't even know the name of. And ultimately, I did go to QE and UE, and I did get my bachelor's degree there. But it occurred to me that without even knowing the very basic thing, which is what the university was actually called, the Lord opened the door, put it in my spirit, put it in my mind that that's where you need to be next in your life. Maybe if I knew all the details, I might have changed my mind. Maybe if I knew how tough the journey was going to be, how expensive it was going to be at that time for my parents, I might have not done it. But God didn't bother to give me all the details before He gave me the desire. So in order to do the scary things, the first thing you got to know is that you get the desire before the details. Is there something scary in your life that God is asking you to do, or that you feel called, feel led, feel inspired or anointed to do? Now in the world, they have different names for this feeling. I think Oprah called it big, bodacious, hairy goals or something like that. Other people call it star-reaching moments, aha moments. I don't know what it's called in the world, but I know it was invented by God. And so this is what you gotta know, that the first big idea, the first humongous, it's gonna blow your mind idea happened in the heart of God. When? In the beginning. In the beginning, there was nothing, and God decided, Elohim decided, let us do something. Let us make something that has never been made like this. Out of nothing, God said, let there be, and then there was. And for 6 days, he went on a creative rampage. In 6 days, the Spirit of God hovered on the waters, and the seas began to teem with life, and trees sprang up, and light happened, and oceans happened, and seas and skies, firmaments, all of these things happened. In 6 days, God went on a creative frenzy, just making everything. Have you ever felt like that? Well, sometimes I feel like that. I feel like just a desire to produce something, that something inside of me needs to make something, and it needs to create something, not just with my hands, but with my words and with my thoughts, and that I was made for more than just existing. Well, that feeling that you get is a God thing. God put it in some of us. Not all of us have it, but some of us have it to a large extent, where you know you were meant for more than what you're doing right now. Well, if it scares you, if the thought of doing something that has never been done, if the thought of going into places that has never been entered into by someone like yourself scares you, then that's a good indicator that this is probably God saying, come. It reminds me of you remember when Christ came walking on the waves, and I've been talking about it a lot these days, but it's such an important lesson. All the disciples are in the boat, and Jesus is walking on the storm. Why is Jesus walking on the storm? Because he likes to live dangerously? No, it was never dangerous to Jesus. He was walking on the storm because storms do not master him. He is master of the storm. You know, you could say you are a great surfer, but if you've never been on a surfboard, you don't know that. Well, God can't say he is Lord of the storm if he has never been in the storm. So he not only was in the storm, one, he was sleeping in the storm at one point. The second time, he was just moving on the storm itself. You master a thing when you are on the thing. Not when it's overwhelming you, not when you're battling it, not when you're, like when we were kids, we used to fight the waves. I don't know if you guys did that. My brothers and I thought that was the best thing to do, to stand up and face the waves and punch the waves and, things that made no sense. But we did it. Jesus didn't have to punch the waves. He didn't even have to compete with the waves. If he was fed up with the waves, all he had to do was say, peace be still. And they would just die down. So he was master of the waves, which is why he would walk on the waves. But here's a boat full of disciples panicking, seeing Jesus out in the darkness, walking on the water. And they say to him, they say, wait a minute, it's a ghost, it's a ghost. Now you gotta imagine, it's water, it's noise, it's waves, it's all kind of upheaval, and it's like our lives sometimes. But they look out into the darkness. Do you know why they could see him? Oh gosh, this is so good. It is the middle of the night. The water is everywhere. It is pitch dark. The waves are crashing. The boat is moving, but yet they can see him afar off walking because he's lit up. How do I know? Because they say the man's a ghost. It means that they could see him shining. It's why I believe that was a moment of transfiguration in Jesus' life. Whenever you master your storm, a transfiguration happens. And I know that those of you who have been in church a long time are having a hard time with this, because you're like, wait a minute, transfiguration was on the mount. Guys, that word transfigured, you ready for this? Lean in, it's so good. That word transfigured is the exact word that Paul uses when he says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's the same word that means transfigured. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, it's a whole other podcast for a whole other time. But I've just got to tell you this. All of a sudden, Peter screams out to Jesus, because Jesus said, don't worry, it's me. It's just me, guys. It's not a ghost. It's me. You're good. Peter said, no, but if it's you, call me out. Tell me to come to you. You know what Peter is saying? He's saying, Jesus, if this is you, then make me do the crazy thing you're doing with you. I love that. That is so sunken into my DNA right now, and has been since I was born. If it's you that's calling me, ask me to do a crazy thing with you. I'm not talking about Jesus telling you to go jump out of a plane without a parachute. That's just a crazy thing. That's not a crazy thing with Jesus. I'm talking about when Jesus calls you to do a crazy thing with him. It's like, come partner with me. Let's go to New York and plant a church called Hope NYC. It's a crazy thing. Come partner with me. Let's send out 4 million loaves of bread during Hurricane Sandy. It's a crazy thing during Hurricane Sandy. When God asks you, go make a movie when you ain't got nothing but a DSLR. That's a crazy thing. Crazy things are for daredevils. Crazy things with God are for the dare Jesuses. It's for those of us who will dare to be with God. Kind of like that PG shirt, isn't it? The dare to hope. You dare to move. You dare to walk with God. You dare to partner with him in doing the scary things. Let me tell you something. Doing the scary things will keep you living. It will keep you alive. Yes, it will challenge you. Yes, it will make you nervous. Yes, it will make you question your own sanity at times. But every time you feel like you're sinking, all you've got to do is put your eyes back on the one who called you out of the boat in the first place. And then you stop sinking. So 1, know that the crazy thing is worth doing. Hallelujah. I wish somebody had told me. It might be crazy, but it's so worth doing. 1, Peter forever becomes the man who walked on water with Jesus. To me, there's no bigger testimony than people will know you as the one who walked on water with Jesus. Not just water, the one who walked through the storm with Jesus. The one who did the impossible, bodacious, crazy thing with Jesus. Your crazy thing and my crazy thing might be very different. To you, it might not be a big deal, but a thing that is crazy to me would be opening a Compass coffee shop when I don't know the first thing about retail. When I don't know anything about owning a restaurant or owning a shop. And then God saying, okay, let's do it again. You did it before. Sometimes we tell God that, don't we? We're like, well, you did it before, you can do it. Oh, he's saying to you, you did it before. Now do it again. And now when I sit back and I look back on Compass coffee shops, raising thousands of dollars to help rescue girls from human trafficking, I'm like, Lord, how did you do that? And he says to me, I didn't do that. We did that. We did a crazy thing together because you were crazy enough to partner with me in doing the scary things. So no, it's worth doing. If one girl gets rescued, if one family gets fed clean water, if one child doesn't die from dysentery, if one family is taken from abject poverty and has a chance to live a life, then that crazy thing is worth doing. Second way to make sure you do the scary thing with God is to know that you are well equipped to do it. There's something, I don't know if you feel this way, but tell me if you feel this way. Do you know the reason why I like caddies? And I don't mean the guy who carry your golf clubs. I mean like the carry-alls, like a fishing tackle box or a craft box. You know why I like to, if I'm gonna sew, I want the sewing machine, I want the roller cutter, I want all the color threads. You know why? Because there is something amazing about having the right equipment for the right job, where you don't have to rig it. You know, you don't have to MacGyver it. You just have what you need. It is so fulfilling. Let me give you an example. So today, one of my false nails fell off, right? Yeah, these are fake nails. And today one fell off, and so I had a replacement, but it has a bit of a thing on the top of it that is really pointy, so it needs to be cut off. So I asked Fanny, I said, do you have a nail file? And she's like, yes, I do. And she runs over and brings this tiny little packet, and she pulls out a nail file. And I start to file, and then I was like, yeah, but do you have a nail clipper? Yes, I do. And I take out the nail clipper and I clip the tippy off, and in 2 seconds my nail was back on, nail glue, everything was right there. And I asked her, and it had nothing to do with this at the time, but I asked her, I said, did that make you feel really good to just have everything right now? And she's like, yes. And she was smiling from ear to ear. Why? Because she was equipped. There's just something amazing about having the right equipment for the right job that makes you feel competent and makes you feel like, you know what, I am the person for this job. I know how to do this. Because let me tell you, the enemy will come to tell you every day of your life you're not fit for the job. That who made you feel like you can sing? Who made you feel like you could bake? Who made you feel like you could preach or pastor anybody? Everybody knows what a mess up you are. Trust me, I still get it. But then when you remember that Christ himself has equipped you for this job, he's given you all the necessary faculty, he's given you all the necessary tools, he's given you the right mindset, the right set of attributes, the right set of personality quirks. You are perfect for the crazy, scary thing that God is calling you out to. All the other disciples were there, but he only called Peter. Why? Because Peter asked? No, I believe that was an appointment for Peter. I believe that day was marked since Peter was in his mother's belly. One day, that crazy man is going to be the one jumping out of the boat to come and walk with me in the storm. Similarly, the scary thing that God put in your spirit, honey, you are already equipped. I know you feel it right now. I feel it for you. That God already gave you everything you need. It's in 1 John 2:27. But you won't need that a man would teach you. I've already equipped you. The Holy Spirit will teach you everything you need to know to do this job just right. Doesn't mean that you won't have to study, doesn't mean that you won't have to get prepared and add to your learning and continue to grow your giftings and invest what he has put in you. But you know where this story starts? The story didn't start with Peter in a boat. No, the story started when Peter was a kid, when he did the first crazy thing that everybody thought he was mad for. The story started when I first tried to make a newspaper. Guess how old I was? 3. And I made a newspaper out of a copybook page. And I scribbled scratch in it. I actually wrote words. And I tried to sell it. Why? Because I love the words. I love the news, the good news. And I always wanted to sell it. I always wanted to exchange it for something. And that's where this started. You know, I tell people I was a youth pastor at 13 years old. And everybody in my youth group was older than me. But it didn't matter because it was scary. But if you're doing it with God, I am well equipped. God showed me that over and over. Whatever scary thing that's coming my way, I am equipped to run coffee shops. I am equipped to pastor a church. I am equipped to host virtual summits. I am equipped to interview famous people. Let's do yours. You are equipped to interview famous people. You are equipped to pastor a church. You are equipped to raise your children. You are equipped to prophesy. You are equipped to teach online. You are equipped to be the president of a country. Whatever it is that is so crazy, if you're partnering with Jesus, if he's the one you're going out to meet in whatever it is you're doing, you're already equipped to do the job. Do you want God to call you into something scary with him? Let's start there. Answer that question. Would you like Jesus to walk out into the storm and say, come? You want to do something scary? Come with me. Because let me tell you something. He's not going to put it in you if he's not going to walk with you. He's not going to call you to it if you're too coward to try. He's not going to pick you if you're not a little bit crazy and a whole bit dependent on the Holy Spirit. But ask yourself, say, Sharo, are you willing to be the one who steps out in the middle of nothing that you recognize, in the middle of a brand new, uncharted territory, just because Jesus says come? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to tell you how to find that territory. Really just one point. If you want to find him, he'll always be found in the unknown. God is going to be found where you have not been before. I know you want to find him in your familiar places. I know you want to find him in your prayer closet. I know you want him to speak to you while you sleep because you're not good at listening while you're awake. But he's gonna appear to you when he is the last thing on your mind. You're gonna find him when you venture into places in your spirit and in your pursuit of the anointing where you've never gone before. My note says, know that God is in the unknown. Know that God is in the middle of the storm. Know that if you want to find Jesus, he's going to be at the bottom of the boat where nobody else is. Know that if you're looking for him, he's going to be in the middle of the temple as a 12-year-old talking to the rabbis. That's not normal. You can't find Jesus in your normal. You can't find the extravagant, crazy, scary calling of God in doing what you're doing every single day. You can't. Yes, he can speak to you anywhere. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about mandates. No, he's going to be found in your 3 days fasting and seeking his face. He's going to be found. Once when he gave me a bodacious, audacious, scary goal, I was in the middle of the Amazon River, not even thinking he would call me at that point, and this is something that I feel like most Christians miss him because they're scared to venture into places in the spirit where they've never been before. They want the familiar. They want 2 jigs and a dance. They want to do this number. They want to say Shanda and Honda. They want to speak in tongues a little bit, but they don't want to release themselves to the glory of God. They don't want to pursue holiness. They don't want to pursue the Spirit. They don't want to get so deep in God that people think you're nuts. But that's where he is found. They that search for me with all their hearts will find me. It's the place where you decide, you know what? It doesn't matter if I don't know what this looks like. If I find him there, I'm willing to pursue him there, right? And so know that God is in the unknown. If he's putting this, I gotta close it up by telling you this. If he's putting an idea in your spirit, I remember when he first put Hope NYC in my belly, and when he first said, look, this season of your life is over. I need you to step into the new season. I put this church as a baby in your mind and in your spirit. I need you to go. He didn't tell me where. At first I was thinking it was Dallas or maybe it was San Antonio, anywhere in the South Texas area. That's where I was thinking it was going to be. Lord, you could even move me to Arlington. I'd be okay with that. Wow, how magnanimous of me to not want to go far away from what I was used to. And this is not necessarily about geography. Maybe it's stepping out of what your normal is. Maybe it's God saying, yes, I know, but can you stop making excuses? Can you stop telling me all the reasons why you can't partner with me to do something scary? Honey, you were born to do the scary stuff. I was born to do the scary stuff. And I'm not talking roller coasters, even though I do like those. No, I'm talking about scary stuff partnering with Jesus. So, I hope this meant something to you. I hope that some of you right now are, one, really thinking, you know what? No more excuses. I'm going to hit this stuff right now. Today, I'm going to start. I'm going to do something. Pastor Sharo, tell me what to do something. Well, if you want to know how to get started, then you need to check out the link down below. There's a podcast I did before on just how to get moving, how to get this stuff started now. You need to go back there. And 2, I hope that after hearing this, that you're willing to venture into unknown territory in your spirit just to hear from Jesus. It's the uncomfortable places. It's the long prayers. It's the isolated moments. It's the crying until your makeup runs off your face. I always say, if it's cute, it ain't worship. Or let me put it better this way. You know it's worship when it stops being cute. Yes. That's for you girls. Think on that and Sila about it. Well, if you've enjoyed this podcast, will you please give it a thumbs up? Will you please subscribe to this YouTube channel? And definitely, if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us a 5-star review. I appreciate all of you that take the time every single week to listen to our podcast and to watch our vlogs on YouTube. We love you so much. All of us here at Preacher Girl love you, especially the non-preacher girls, the preacher men who really do listen to it, we love you too. Girls, guys, God bless you. You have a fantastic week, and remember that you don't need a pulpit. You just need a message, because if God calls you, no one can uncall you. Mwah.